72% of Miami-Dade County is Hispanic. I spent the entire break looking at U.S. Census Bureau numbers. I found very few cities, and not Houston.
Start of the day.
Oh,
Start
come
of the
on!
Day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Gotta respect the music.
Start of the day. Start of the day. It is the start of the day.
I used to respect the magic crate. It was an actual crate.
It's not a magic crate there today. It's just a thing of random topics.
Florida's game at Utah tonight is the Gators' first non-conference road game outside the state of Florida in 11,667 days.
Oh.
Dan, do you remember the last out-of-state non-conference road game the Gators had?
How would I possibly remember that?
It was September 21st, 1991, when they lost to Syracuse on the heels of Kirby Dardar returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown. That comes courtesy of Brett McMurphy on X. I like to think that he's actually on ecstasy when I say that.
It feels so good. So soft.
Lucy and Jessica will be giving you some strong college football coverage, recap, preview a little bit later in the show. Florida State and LSU is the big game of the weekend. Although, I mean, Utah has to be the best, quiet as it's kept power, strange power in college sports, the winning 10 games every year. Utah being legitimately good and formidable when they have no reason or right to be formidable and have a touchdown point spread advantage against Florida, which has a lot of athletes.
Florida beat them last year at the Swamp, and this line is curious because Cameron Rising, the Utah starting quarterback, is not playing in this game.
It is interesting, Dan, because they've won the Pac-12 the last 2 seasons, Utah. They have one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in the sport, Andy Ludwig. And yet every year we're like, oh, yeah, like maybe this is just our East Coast bias. We're like, oh, yeah, Utah. Well, look at Uncle Kyle.
Uncle Kyle's
he's doing it again.
He's making less money than Deion Sanders. Is a team that's been to multiple Rose Bowls, won a Rose Bowl, I believe.
It's hard given how popular college football has become, and I really have a hard time with this because I keep assuming that at some point in our future, being this greedy about just trampling tradition and everything that college football has been in the name of dollars, that there will be a cost to that, to make it minor league football that's that professional. Overtly, you take off the mask. I think there's going to be a cost, but I might be wrong just because football is so popular that people want minor league football. I just didn't know that you could be Utah quietly, that you could, whether you play on the West Coast or not, that you could be a program that wins 10 games a year a lot and has been good for, I don't know, the last decade. Formidable, a team that Oregon sure doesn't want to play when Mario Cristobal, right before Cristobal's getting the money, where Utah is a school that is getting players, and it's not like Boise State or a MAC team getting good. Utah's been excellent for a while, but hasn't won the big championships.
I just think it's our bias. They're usually in the conversation. By the way, updated line courtesy of our friends over at DK Sportsbook. With Cam Rising being doubtful for this game, it's down to 4.5, but still favored against a team that they lost to last year with their backup quarterback at home.
Cam Rising out. The line is falling. It's falling. It's opposite.
I heard you the first time.
All right.
Effort. I thought last Thursday.
I've had about enough of this. I need to address some things going on with Amin that have evidently been going on since last week. Okay, I'm going to read. This is, I am off in the woods looking for the same God that Tony found in North Carolina, trying to disconnect from everything. And I got hit. I'm just going to read some of these. There were so many of them. Just so much of it. Criticizing Amin. I felt secondhand embarrassment for the whole show. Izzy became instantly unlikable, while Amin now seems like a person I can't take seriously ever again. Both are way too emotional over petty spats that hold zero value to us listeners. Amin was a short-tempered, I'm not going to say the word, and shouldn't have left, but then Izzy couldn't let it go, and he kept coming back to it.
Speaking of
time out.
wait a minute. Wait.
What was the word, brother?
I'm not going to
What
say
does it start with?
Yeah,
what's the
I'm not
letter?
gonna say it.
What's the letter? It could start with almost any other letter.
It starts with a B.
Okay.
All right. Not great, but
Izzy
fine.
Gutierrez came into Le Batard Show and was all week calling people fat, insulted everyone, and then when Amin is tired of it, Izzy gets sensitive and tries to use the gay card with the setup. What happened last week? I truly enjoy Amin and his comedic style on every show he's on, but he 100% has a bad ego and is way too sensitive.
I don't think someone played the gay card. I really don't know if anyone played that.
I don't know what that card looks like. What is that?
No,
I know it's an awesome card.
It's a great card. I love the card. Support the card.
What's on the card? A rainbow?
I'm not going to get into this, but I don't think anyone actually played that card.
Salute to you, Izzy, for dealing with Amin. What happened, Amin? I'm tired of avoiding this subject. The audience is demanding that I speak on it when I don't know what the hell happened. And I asked you what happened while I was gone, and you just said there was a course interaction and didn't give me any more information.
Yeah, I don't feel like I don't think it's noteworthy. I don't think it's anything that we need to revisit. Last week was last week. If you want to talk to me about it off air, I'll happily talk to you about it. But, I just don't think that this
I clearly want to talk to you about it on air.
I don't want to talk about it on air. I don't know what you want from me. I don't want to talk about it on air.
Well, I just want to know what happened, because if I'm getting hit from every angle, people are saying, Dan, handle this. Dan, comment on it. Dan, tell us what happened. And I'm asking you what happened because I haven't talked to Izzy and I don't know what happened. And unbelievable.
Thank you.
Please ask me a U.S. Census question.
Dan, last night, Nebraska women's volleyball broke the record for the most fans in attendance for a women's sporting event. In Memorial Stadium, over 90,000 fans watched this volleyball game. I don't know if you saw any clips of it, but I watched them run out onto the court.
Cool.
It was one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, and they beat the record, which was made by a Barcelona game last April, which was, I think, 90,000. So just narrowly beat it. It is a great time to be a women's sports fan. You put people in front of a lot of fans, people are going to come to the games. They want to watch the women's volleyball team in Nebraska.
In a football stadium. And that was, to me, I was moved seeing the faces of the players walk into lights and be truly awed by what was happening around them.
It was very neat.
Did she just play the woman card?
What's on that card?
I don't like this
It's an
game.
awesome card.
It's a great card.
also
We love, we
fantastic
support
card.
this
Yeah.
card. Yes. I wish all the cards were that card.
Can you guys
Queen.
get...
It's a queen. Queen of Hearts. It's a Queen of Hearts. Yes.
It's Jeff Van Gundy.
It looks like Jeff Van Gundy.
I don't want that card.
Oh.
Can you guys get for me,
Give me a
please,
black Amex card instead.
Get for me the historic sound and video that Amin...
It's true.
Amin couldn't stop marveling at the idea that someone in the world has opinions on sports that are so egregious that they make perpetual court jester Gilbert Arenas, who once laughed at a man who had a gun in his face. They make his statements, Rashad McCants' statements, make Gilbert Arenas crazy angry because Rashad McCants says things very often that are nuts. We will play this clip for you in a moment. We will show you Kenyon Martin's reaction, Gilbert Arenas' reaction.
Really quick, I don't even know what the clip is. That's how many times he does it to Gilbert. I don't even know which one you're selecting.
The one I'm talking about, and we'll play it later, but the one I'm talking about, Rashad McCants is taking up Mike Ryan's side and saying that I believe a team in Lebanon that Rashad McCants played on, he says they could beat the Nuggets.
This is not my side.
Yeah.
My side was just flatly, it is accurate. to say that it's not a true world championship. It's a North American championship in the NBA. And then you guys have me having Shane Larkin beating LeBron in a 7-game series.
I stand corrected, and I, like Amin, taking a real leadership role. I will apologize. I stand corrected. Mike Ryan did not say
Thank you.
that Rashad McCants.
You guys kept trying to change it as I was saying.
I'm not done with my apology. Mike Ryan, I'm sorry.
There's more.
I'm sorry. Mike Ryan did not say that Rashad McCants' Lebanon team could beat the Nuggets. He did say Shane Larkin's Turkey team could beat the Nuggets.
Yeah, that's right.
Did not say that.
That is.
Do we clap for that one?
Playing the line card.
Well, now what's on that card?
Joker. It's Stugotz.
It would be Stugotz wearing that weight belt on his head with frozen peas on his swollen cheek. That is correct.
That was amazing, by the way. What a performance by Stugotz. He sounded terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he's not driving today.
It is one of the most amazing things in a career that is truly amazing that Stugotz would not protect his voice. It's
The one thing.
It's so self-destructive.
The one thing.
It really is remarkable. I mean, Celine Dion is drinking these teas to make sure that her career does not get impacted.
She's dealing with stuff, man. That's really unfortunate.
I know, but you got to protect your voice.
It's like you can look awful, Stugotz. You can look haggard as much as you want. Face swollen, unshaven, bags under your eyes. You can smell awful. You can have horrible hygiene, Stugotz. You could just reek of just odor, body odor, and pungent smells. You can not clip your fingernails, your toenails, have dirt cake up underneath them. Building so that every time you reach over with those sausage fingers towards Dan, Dan recoils instinctively because he doesn't want to come into contact with the filth that you are. But the one thing you cannot disregard is the moneymaker. Turn off all the cameras, Stugotz. You still sound horrible.
Why is that funny? It is not funny. It's so funny. Even with the strike of the writers and the actors, I think you listening to this right now, if you're looking for the distractions of content, because there are so many people making podcasts, if you're discerning, you could create a menu of entertaining things that aren't the listening habits of your father or grandfather or grandmother, because podcasts, a lot of people have rushed into this space, like Gilbert Arenas, who is doing good, fun work, has always been entertaining. And the thing that we were talking about last segment that he did with Rashad McCants, and Kenyon Martin was there as well. I don't actually care whether what he is saying, the argument is right or wrong. I'm more interested in seeing how appalled and disrespected Kenyon Martin and Gilbert Arenas feel because Rashad McCants has the audacity to say that his team in Lebanon could play with the Denver Nuggets.
Who did you play for?
I play for a lot of teams.
No, what's your name one?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. What was the name of your team?
Commitment.
Commitment. Do y'all team can beat the Denver Nuggets?
We have a chance.
Do you can now get the out of here?
Get the out of here. Let's move on. Let's move on, man. I'm not gonna let.
The reaction. Go back to that for a second, just so that you could look at the face of Kenyon Martin when he discovers that Rashad McCants believes Lebanon could beat the NBA champs.
Who did you play for?
I play for a lot of teams.
No, what's your name one?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. What was the name of your team?
Commitment.
Commitment. Do y'all team can beat the Denver Nuggets?
We have a chance.
Do you can now get the out of here?
Get the out of here. Let's move on.
Lose by 200.
Let's move on. Let's move on, man. I'm not gonna let.
It is so disrespectful. I don't know if it's true or not. I think it was Yao Ming who alleged at one point that Kenyon Martin had a Chinese tattoo that he thought meant warrior, but the word actually was like noodles or something. It was the wrong word. Kenyon Martin's disgust in that video is something that I would never want someone who cares about me to feel that disgusted with who I am. He seems, let's one more time play it. He seems totally asleep, bored by the content right up until McCants claims Lebanon could beat Denver.
Who did you play for?
I play for a lot of teams.
No, what's your name one?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. What was the name of your team?
Commitment.
Commitment. Y'all team can beat the Denver Nuggets?
We have a chance.
No, you can't. Now get the out of here.
Get the out of here.
Let's move on.
I'm not gonna let.
Let's move on.
It's so much more disrespectful to like wait, exhale, and then tell someone they're being stupid than just to right off the bat be like, you're being stupid, which is it was the perfect amount of pause.
I have to point out, though, Kenyon Martin is a no-nonsense dude, right? This is a dude that was feared everywhere he went. So him going with a very subtle, get the fuck out of here, let's move on, is hilarious, but not quite as hilarious as Gilbert Arenas, the man who laughed when a loaded gun was waved in his face. Laughed. That's the legend goes when Javaris Crittenton entered the locker room. Gilbert had 3 guns on the chair, told him to pick one. Crittenton said, I don't have to pick one. I got one of my own. Pulls it out, cocks it. The locker room evacuates, and Gilbert sat back in his chair and laughed. This is how little this guy takes anything seriously. Listen to how angry he is. Look at his face. He is livid. Livid with
Who did you play for?
I play for a lot of teams.
No, what's your name one?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. What was the name of your team?
Commitment.
Commitment. Y'all team can beat the Denver Nuggets?
We have a chance.
No, you can't. Now get the out of here.
Get the out of here.
Y'all lose by 200.
Let's move on, man. You can't. I'm not gonna let.
Lose by 200 is such a funny statement because scoring 200 points in a basketball game is already an amazing feat. He's saying you would lose by.
How do you feel? Because Gilbert Arenas has always been entertaining, but I remember talking to him in a South Beach session in which he talked $5. He talked about the idea that his personality was almost entirely neutered by going through that scandal. He tried to be playful after the gun scandal. He actually got suspended not for the guns, but for coming out afterward, introduced before a game, doing finger guns and being disrespectful of Stern is what got him gone. And ever since then, because he didn't realize what the consequences were going to be to that, he had to temper his personality. The rest of his time in the league, I don't know if you've heard him recently, he hates Stan Van Gundy. Hates Stan Van Gundy. Talks about him in the most poisonous of terms, but his personality was largely neutered. And on this setting, with no real consequences, he's allowed to be most himself. And he's always been one of the most interesting players in the league.
And his podcast goes beyond what I would say most podcasts, if even player podcasts. He is next level, caustic, toxic, but hilarious. I mean, that's Gilbert. That's Gilbert. That's who he is. That's the space he wants to occupy. He loves being in a space where he's beholden to nothing. And it's what makes the podcast simultaneously incredibly entertaining and also incredibly kind of irresponsible at times. Some of the things that they say are just wildly incorrect, but it's the beauty of that podcast is that it's funny. It's always entertaining.
One of the things that's happening throughout the content industry, because there are so many people living and working by different rules, you're getting a lot of podcasts that are getting traction when Draymond Green says new media that, like Gilbert Arenas, like Cameron, they don't have to adhere to any kind of rules because they're microphones, they're employing themselves, and they're not thinking or worrying about the consequences that mainstream media has to worry about. It's why it's a more unfiltered and honest look of what locker room talk can look like when you tell the athlete, hey, here's a microphone, just be yourself, do locker room talk, there's money in it.
Right. And they found the money. I don't know if they did it for the money, though. Right? Like Cam and Mace, they just signed a big deal, and congratulations to them. But I don't think they did it for the money. They did it because they're like, you know what? We always have these fun conversations. It'll be funny if we recorded it and broadcast it. Same thing with Gilbert and you know, his co-host Josiah Johnson. Like, I don't know if Gilbert did it because he was looking for a check. I think he did it because he's always been this character. You know, people forget, this was the first guy who had a blog, like a first active athlete who said, I'm going to tell you my day-to-day, and it's not going to be woke up, went to practice, it was good. He was talking about stuff about, like, pranking Nick Young. He was talking about his birthday party where we spent, like, I think $250,000 on it, and the invites were all on black cards, the Arenas Express black cards. He was telling you, like, what life was actually like for one of the wildest guys in the NBA.
I'm not accusing him of doing it for money. I'm saying there's also money in it.
Sure.
I believe that many of these people who are coming into this space are doing it because, like Draymond Green, they are tired of the filter between them and the audience that tells a story through an intermediary, because at every point in the past when an athlete, before now and the democratization, the meritocracy of if you can get ears yourself, go ahead and do it. These guys always had to go to an entity and then feed the entity content and get nothing in return for it, while also getting their message diluted or stripped down or analyzed by someone else. Here, they just go directly to consumer. They go straight with whatever their message is without any of the inhibitions, and they don't have to actually help the media that they don't trust make money off of what they're saying. They can own all their own. And if you can own all your own and there are fewer consequences and you can talk directly to the consumer, of course, athletes are going to flood into that space wanting their voice heard correctly, not through an intermediary.
Yeah, I mean, the conversations you have on the air with athletes and the conversations you'll have with them off the air are entirely different. And the interesting part now with media members and our behavior becomes you really have to fall into one of two buckets. Either you're entirely confrontational in order to get the attention of these athletes and thus interact with them on social media, do the types of things that we see with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, or you kind of almost have to kiss their ass, because if not, why are they going to come to you and talk to you? There's not a really great level of just the responsible journalist who's in and out of the locker room or the clubhouse being able to criticize and also still get that access in the same way.
And that's the thing where I'll push back on you, Dan. You're talking about, like, in the past, they got nothing out of it. They got a lot out of it. Michael Jordan got a lot out of his relationship with Michael Wilbon. That's just a fact, right? Like, the star players having relationships with credible media people, not, you know, ass kissers, to kind of paraphrase what Jeremy was talking about. It helped them get their message and get their brand out to a lot more people in a way that was somewhat sanitized, because you know this, because you're from the era where you guys would see and like, I'm not gonna include this in the story. Even though the guy didn't say this is off the record or whatever, you just knew better. You used discretion. So absolutely, athletes in the past benefited. Now, the same swath, like back then it was certain people. Now a Draymond Green, who maybe, you know, earlier in his career would never have gotten the kind of media attention that a player of his caliber could get. Now he can get that, right? Or Jeff Teague, it was a great example of a guy who's got a podcast that's got a lot of traction this summer. Jeff Teague was like a one-time All-Star. So this isn't a guy who typically gets a lot of attention, even if he's saying regular stuff. Forget about filter or unfiltered. It's giving a voice to people who were just kind of cogs in the machine before. I don't mean or didn't mean to say that they don't get anything from the relationship. No, you said they didn't get anything back. They don't get money back. Well, not money. No, but when you go, directly. You're giving away your product. Draymond and LeBron have figured out, no more, man. No more. I'm not giving away my product for free to the media so that Fox and ESPN and everyone else can make the money off of what I'm saying. I think that the most substantive change is right there. Why should I give the headlines to someone else? I will profit off them myself.
Right, and money is, to them, it's more important than being popular. They can be popular already. I play with Steph Curry. I don't need no extra attention. I just knocked out Jordan Poole. I don't need no extra attention. It's like I can be myself and make money for this. This is awesome. I love the new media. I love the debates. I love all of it. You feel me? Salute to the Gilbert Arenas. Salute to Josiah Johnson. Keep doing your thing, brothers.
It is a substantive and interesting change that I am looking forward to see what the next 10 years of evolution of look like.
You know what happened there? The clock got him.